Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Okay, my love, I have put everything that I offer for free on one page so that we are not doing more work than we have to, because why would we do that? Hashtag work smarter, not harder. So livemyhappyhealth.com/free. You are going to find everything I've created for not only leveling up in your personal life and building a life that you love, but leveling up in your business life and building a business that you love. Okay? livemyhappyhealth.com/free. Love you. Hi. Welcome to today's episode. This is a concept that clarifies things for a lot of people, so I thought that it would be useful to talk about. So I'll give you the concept, and then I'm going to give you some stories that explain the concept. But first, I hope that you're doing well. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I hope it's useful to you. It means a lot that you're here. So let's get into it. So the concept is, if you want more, stop accepting less. If you want better, stop accepting less. We get what we choose. What continues is what we allow. But at its core, the concept is, if you want more, stop accepting less. And if you want what you say you want, stop accepting bullshit, which is usually how I say it. Here's how I actually say it. If you want what you say you want, you don't get to be a coward about it. Hold the standard. If you say you want ribeye and you accept ground chuck hamburger, yeah, you're not going to get what you want. Hold the standard. If you want what you say you want, you don't get to be a coward about it. So let me give you some examples. So the farm that I live on took me 2 years to find. 2 years. Literally 2 years. It could have taken longer. Had it taken longer, I would have continued to search for the perfect property. So 2 years of every single day looking at every single farm for sale in the state of North Carolina. I wasn't particularly picky about where I moved. I just knew that I wanted the farm to fit certain criteria. I wanted it to be over 25 acres, preferably 25 to 50. Not in a big town, but I was open to it kind of being really anywhere in the state. I knew that I wanted a house on it. I knew that I wanted it to be cleared. All such things. So we looked at multiple, I think we came out to North Carolina 3 times, maybe twice, maybe 3, to look at properties. But I was every single day searching for 2 years for property in North Carolina. And I had a standard. I had a dream that I was not going to sacrifice, because I knew once I moved to the farm, a bitch ain't moving. I'm not going anywhere. If I can help it, I will be buried under the pecan tree a long time from now, universe. So let's not be confused about that. Buried under the pecan tree that I'm currently looking at as I film this episode. I wanted what I wanted, and I was not willing to sacrifice what I wanted. How many times have you done that? How many times have you been happy that you've done that? Probably never. You've probably never been happy that you've lowered your standard So that just makes no sense, right? I see this all the time with people in relationships. When you lower the bar for whatever fucking reason, they just play limbo under it. Like the bar, I tell clients when they're in a really shitty relationship, I'm like, listen, honey, that bar, male and female, I say, listen, honey, that bar is so low. The devil's playing limbo with it. Like, it doesn't matter how much you lower the bar. If you have a shitty partner, they'll just go lower. And then you're like, oh God, well, I guess I better lower the standard. And then what do you end up with? Shit. You end up with a relationship and not a relationship. Okay. So that's not okay. So had I not held the standard for what I wanted for the farm, could I have made it work? Yeah, I can make anything work, right? Would I have been happy? No. And so I would have traded a lifetime of happiness because I lowered my own standard. Like, it's not worth it. It made no sense. So it took me 2 years, and this is the perfect farm. Could I have made anything good? Yes, of course. Would it have been perfect? Would I have felt in full alignment with it? No, because I wanted what I wanted. Could I do what I do on 10 acres? Yeah, sure, I could. I could probably do it on 3 or 4. But I didn't want 3 or 4. I didn't want 10. I wanted bigger. So I held the standard until I found property that met all of the criteria. So there's that one. I have left relationships where they didn't meet the standard. My first marriage, for example, met no standards. That bar was so low. Not only was the devil playing limbo with it, they then buried underground so they could go even lower. So I ended my first marriage because it sucked. It sucked. It was not good. And that was really an example where I didn't hold the standard the whole time. And what did I get? A bunch of bullshit. Like, there was no point in that entire relationship that it was really good because I dropped my standards. And also, if you don't hold your standards, I would argue that you don't have any. So I had things I wanted, but I did not hold them. I was being a coward about it, right? So if you want what you say you want, you don't get to be a coward about it. I was 100% such a coward about it. I didn't want to lose them. I didn't want them to be upset, blah, 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 blah. Amanda, come on, boo. Like, and everyone who knew us knew, like, okay, he is not up to standard. And I was like, no, but I love him. It'll be great. It was not great. It was horrible. So that entire time I held no standard, and I got exactly what I asked for, which was a terrible relationship. The vast majority of the time. Were there pockets of it that were great? Yeah, of course there were. Nothing is 100% awful. But it was not good by any means. Again, bar so low, devil be playing limbo with it. And I did not hold the standard for what I wanted. And I work with so many clients who do that. And come to find out, they've never even thought about what they wanted. Now, I had thought about what I wanted, and then I just threw all those things out the window. And I was like, oh, I'll totally be happy with a man who meets none of my standards. Like, spoiler alert, I was not. And it only got worse. So there was that. The partner that I have now, we broke up for a time because I am much more firm in my standards now. I want what I want, and I'm willing to wait to get it because I'm not willing to get less. If I want more, I am not accepting less. And so we ended things for a time because I wanted to live together. I wanted someone to chase goats with me forever. You guys know they get out almost every day. Oh, bless them. And they never really go anywhere. They just get out and kind of do whatever they want and then go back in. So it's like not really a huge thing, but like I do have to, I do get them often. And they're just so funny. So I was like, I want someone to chase goats with me forever. Like, that's what I want. And he was not willing to do that. He was like, well, I don't want to live with you. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go find someone who will give me what I want. And then, later we were talking and he was like, oh, I actually do want those things. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, you meet my standard now. Never an issue with him. He's always been wonderful. I just wanted that specific thing. So we are vibing now. And so like leaving relationships that don't meet my standard means I'm going to get what I want. But if I stay in relationships that don't meet my standard, then I'm never going to get what I want. Like that just doesn't make sense, right? But people do it all the time, but it doesn't make logical sense. You find this with people with cars, right? Like if their dream car is a 4Runner, a Toyota 4Runner, and they get a RAV4, like it doesn't make it not a good car. It just means that they lowered their standard and didn't get what they wanted. So they got less because they didn't hold the standard. Like that's another example. So I've never done that with cars. I have always had cars that I really enjoyed. And I'm not, understand that I'm not a huge car person. I'm not buying like $60,000 cars either. Like I drive a Subaru and I really, really love my Subaru. I love my Subaru. Would it be nice if I had like the new 2023 Subaru? Like hell yeah, if somebody wants to gift me one, like a girl will take it. But I don't particularly want a car payment right now. So like my standard that I want is I don't want a car payment. So I am not buying a car that would take a car payment. You can do this with clothes, right? So like it's not always huge decisions like relationships or that where you live. It can be a job that you work. What standard do you want for the job that you work? Do you want a certain pay? Do you want certain hours? Do you want flexibility to work from home or not work from home? Like if you accept less, you're going to get probably less than you accept. And then there will always be this misalignment and that sucks, right? My intention for you is that you're so in alignment that you're like, holy shit, life is so good. Like people complain about life and I'm like, yeah, literally can't relate. That's my intention for you. So you can do this with clothes, right? Like I am on this journey where I kind of stopped buying like polyester clothes because they no longer feel good. Like, those like chiffon type clothes that like a lot of women's clothes are made out of. That doesn't feel good on my skin. It doesn't, I don't like it. So I don't buy it. Like I buy things that are soft. I buy things that are cozy. I found this website where you can buy like silk and cashmere for like stupid cheap. It's called Quince, Quince. Like, oh my gosh. So literally so good. Like I got a silk dress for $40. Okay. What? And it's washable. I mean, I wash anything anyway. Like I'm definitely never dry cleaning anything in my life. Like I'm just not going to do it. I may not dry it, but I'm definitely going to wash it. Like it is what it is. So yeah. So like you can, it can be smaller decisions like the clothes that you wear, the foods that you eat. I stopped buying things like that. I cleaned out my closet of clothes that feel like that. Clothes that make me that don't look nice on me, that don't fit the aesthetic that I want. Like they just don't meet my standards. So I just clean them out. And as I replace, which is not to say like all at once, but like as I replace, I feel better because I'm holding my standard, right? Like you're allowed to outgrow things that previously you were into. I don't eat shitty food. Like I'm just not going to do it. I would rather go without than eat food that makes me feel like shit or that tastes like shit. Like, so I have chosen to, like, there are certain restaurants I won't eat at because I don't like the food. Doesn't mean I won't go if someone is like super, super into like that place. Like I can find something to eat pretty much anywhere. But it's like not necessarily a choice that I'm going to make. Right. But if someone wants to go, like, of course, or I'll be like, oh, what if we went to this other place? And sometimes I get lucky and they say yes. And sometimes they're like, oh, I really want this. And it's like, damn it, fine. Okay. For example, I'll be building a house within the next year. So like this is going to be a really interesting one and I'll keep you guys updated. But this is going to be a really interesting one for holding the standard because a bitch has bougie tastes. Okay. I am bougie about certain things. For whatever reason, I'm very, very particular and bougie about doors. So my dream in this house, my standard that I'm going to hold in this house is that every door is stained glass. Now, I was looking at stained glass doors and they're like $3,000 a door. And before you like are like, Amanda, what the fuck is wrong with you? What I'm going to do, because I just want stained glass doors, is you can buy stained glass windows for like $100 and you can find a door for $100. So I'm just going to get doors. I'm not going to do it. My dad, bless him, we love him, is going to do it. Cut a hole in the door and put the window in the door. And then bada bing, bada boom, I have stained glass doors. So my standard is stained glass doors. I don't care if I buy them from a manufacturer. But this is more fun because then I can get antique stained glass windows and put them in the doors, and then every door is different. And it's so fun. So the house build will be a really, really interesting hold the standard practice that I'm like really excited about. And then there's like obviously some things that I don't care about too much. Like, no, I mean, I'm pretty particular about a lot of things. So it'll be interesting too to butt it up against my partner's standards and preferences, because it's always interesting like doing something like that as a partner. To be like, oh, like I have this standard, you have this standard, like so interesting. Let's see where it feels like a win-win. So the house build will just be holding the standard. And then sometimes I imagine arguing with my dad about the things that I want. And he'll be like, that's stupid. Why do you want that? And I'll be like, I don't know. It's just what I want. And I'm going to get what I want because I'm the bitch who's paying for it. So we're going to get what we want. I did this with my team. Like I wanted specific types of people on the team for the therapy practice, and I was not willing to take less. So I was not willing to take someone who isn't interested in continued growth, who isn't self-led, who is not affirming of neurodivergent, LGBT, immigrant, people of color. Like I'm not willing to have people like that on the team. Also, I think people like that should not be a fucking therapist. Like if you're not inclusive of all identities, what the fuck are you doing helping anyone? But that's another conversation. So like I was not willing to sacrifice the team culture either, or the team dynamic. Like we all get along so well, but that was very intentional. Like I wasn't, so it took me, one of the girls, Erin, kind of fell into my lap. My work wife, Brittany, we worked together at the methadone clinic. So I was like, please come work with me. Erin fell into my lap, but even then I was picky. Like I don't need to hire anyone. Like I don't need to do anything, right? Like everything is a choice. So I took my time in finding people who were a good fit and then training them the way that I want them to be trained. So even that is like, I have a very, very high standard for therapists that like, I'm not going to sacrifice to get someone who's mediocre. Like, why would I do that? That makes no sense. So that's a standard that I hold, and I put a lot of effort into like training in order for them to be incredibly effective, because that's the standard that I want. Like I'm not here to fuck around, and I'm not here for my team to fuck around. Like for me, you're either extremely good or you're not here. Like, but that means then that like I spend a lot of time training, which is totally fine. That's my choice to do. So it took me a long time, and like I'm low key on the hunt now for someone. I'm open to someone coming on to the team, another person, but I have a very high standard for that person. Not only do I expect them to be like self-led, to be growth focused, to, you know, be interested in being better, but also to fit the culture of the team. And if they don't fit the culture of the team, like then it's automatically a no-go, because that will create way too much friction. So it means that I may wait longer. Like it may take a little longer to find someone who fits that standard, but if I lower the standard, I'm going to have problems later on, right? So definitely not worth it. So I encourage you to look at your life and your choices and the things that are in it right now, and to think, you know, to really assess like, okay, where have I lowered my standards, or where have I maybe not even thought about standards? Like I work with so many people who have literally never thought about what they want in a relationship. So I'm like, okay, let's set some standards. Like let's set some non-negotiables. And it is such a powerful exercise, not only to define the person that they want, but the relationship characteristics that they want. Most people really miss the relationship characteristics, but like literally we do want both. So where in your life have you lowered a standard, or just not even thought about a standard that you have? And where can we up that standard and be very stubborn about that standard so that you get what you want? Because that's my wish for you, is that you get what you want. Everything in life feels like a ribeye, and nothing in life feels like eating hot mayonnaise that's been left in the sun. So if you want some support with that, holler at your girl at Amanda_chills on the Insta. Have a beautiful day. I hope this gave you a lot of clarity. And I hope that you continue to refine until you are so happy. Okay, bye.